babyREADY. Welcome back. Today we're talking about coping strategies during the labor process. And so to that end, I've invited some friends in to help me illustrate or demonstrate some of the techniques that seem to work very well through the labor process. I want to start by talking a little bit about what you can do for yourself as a coping strategy outside of massage or music or any of the other things that we typically hear associated with labor. One of the best gifts that you can give yourself when you're getting through the labor process is first and foremost to believe in yourself. That doesn't mean that I think that you should be doing it unmedicated. That's not what believing in yourself means to me. But more than that, I want you to know with conviction in your soul that you can birth this baby, that you will give birth to a beautiful child, and that you will be forever changed and in love with the baby you birth. For some people, that means that they get themselves through the birth process, or through the labor process rather, to the point where they're able to have an epidural. And for other people, that means going all the way through without any medication at all. And yet for others, it means having a scheduled cesarean section because they can't imagine themselves going through the physical transition of vaginally birthing a child. There are no wrong answers and there are no wrong ways to do it. I simply encourage you to believe that you can do this because you can. Birth is, and labor is, as much as a physical process, it is an emotional and psychological process. And I don't mean that in a wacky kind of way, but I mean if you spend too much time in your head during labor, then you're going to put up roadblocks in your way without even intending to or trying to. Believe that you can do this. Believe that you have the power to bring a baby into this world. You can do this. And if you spend more time focusing on the fact that you can, on what you believe to be true, what you know to be true about the process, then that goes a long way. Don't spend labor in your head. Spend labor outside of your body. Just let it happen, unfold, and it will. It will just happen. In early labor, it's likely that you're not going to need a whole lot more other than a physical presence of someone else to be there for you, to offer the emotional support that you need, and sometimes the informational support that you need to let you know what's happening, remind you that things are normal, also to remind you when there are things that you need to focus on, like it's been a while since you've had any water or something to eat, those kinds of things. So having somebody with you so that you're not feeling like you're going through the process alone is a huge part of getting through the labor process. By the end of early labor, you will probably want to become a little bit more focused in your home. But before that, go out for walks. Change the scenery. If you can't go for a walk outside because the weather is not such that you can, then get yourself out and go to the supermarket or something and wander around the aisles there. Even in the middle of the night, that works. If you're able to, go to a local mall and walk around the mall if the weather is inclement, or go to a parking structure and make sure that it's well lit if it's nighttime, but just walk. Just change your scenery, just allow yourself to breathe, and just move with your contraction. You won't need any specific breathing patterns in early labor. You'll simply breathe as you always do. It isn't until you get to more active labor that we look at more focused breathing techniques. And I'm not a patterned breathing educator. I have been taught how to teach that. I also have spent a significant number of hours in the room with laboring parents, and I have yet to see patterned breathing be particularly effective, because my number one motto for getting through labor is to keep life as normal as possible for as long as possible. That's really important, and I want to say it again because I really want you to take this to heart. Keep life as normal as possible for as long as possible. And I mean that. Whether you've got groceries to buy, laundry to do, bathrooms to clean, people to visit, a job to get to, let yourself keep life normal as long as possible. Don't be in labor before you're in labor. Don't spend every moment focusing on the contraction that may still come 20 minutes down the road. You'll have plenty of time to focus on labor later. But for now, don't be in labor unless you're in labor, and keep life as normal as you possibly can. That goes a long way in helping keep yourself calm and relaxed. And remember, it's so important that as you move the baby's body down through your pelvis, you need to be as physically relaxed as you possibly can, because that's what's going to move the baby most easily. So, early labor is all about distraction. Laugh, have sex, watch comedy movies, eat chocolate, eat carbs and protein combinations to give you some immediate energy and some sustained energy. Drink lots of water. Keep yourself very adequately hydrated. But don't spend more time focusing on labor than you need to spend. And it isn't until you get to active labor that things tend to pick up in both frequency and intensity. And it would be at that point that if you had been out, you're more likely to want to come closer to home again, be at your central base for the majority of your labor process. Allow your partner or your support person or whomever is there with you to show you how to do some coping strategies, whether it's guiding you into getting into a hands and knees presentation on the sofa or on your bed to allow your hips to sway side to side, maybe leaning over some pillows or an exercise ball, or simply standing in the kitchen and leaning over the kitchen counter and swaying your hips from side to side, or leaning over a sofa or anything that's around that height. Sway your hips from side to side as you breathe slowly and rhythmically through labor. And here's the thing. I mentioned that I'm not a patterned breathing person because I truly do believe in keeping life normal for as long as possible. We aren't used to breathing in a pattern. We're used to just breathing. But what can sometimes happen when we get to active labor and our contractions pick up in their intensity is sometimes we will hold our breath, or we'll feel our tension come as the contraction comes. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a deep breath in at the beginning of a contraction, and as it comes in, I want you to consciously let your shoulders go and breathe. And let your hands uncurl and breathe. And let your eyebrows relax and breathe and sway and just move with each contraction and let them happen. That slow, rhythmic, patterned breathing is a mimic of the way that we breathe when we are our very most relaxed, and that's when we're sleeping. And that's ultimately what I'm encouraging you to head towards. Try to have a slow, rhythmic breathing pattern. Not conscious, but just relaxed. And as a support person, if you're there to support your partner or a friend or a family member through the labor process, one of the gifts you can do, because nobody who's in labor wants to hear somebody constantly saying, slow your breathing down, take a deep breath. Although those will be tips from time to time, but simply place your hand firmly on their shoulder and just hold it there. And if they're still holding their breath, you may ever so slightly pull the relaxation down their arms. When you're touching someone who's in the middle of a contraction, it's very important to remember that you always want to pull away from the heart. When you pull away from the heart, that stimulates the relaxation in the body. When you push towards the heart, that sends a signal of stimulation. So when we go up to somebody and we mean very well, but we rub back and forth to tell them that we're there and we support them, ultimately the message that we're giving their body is relax, stimulate, relax, stimulate, relax, stimulate. And to that end, it ends up heightening their stimulation and therefore making them more uncomfortable. So I understand you mean well. Please know I'm not criticizing. We only want the people we love to feel more comfortable, and we'll do whatever we can for them. So I'm encouraging you to just pull away from the heart. Lift your hands and pull again. When you're using an inanimate object, you can go back and forth because it doesn't have the same energy transfer as hand-on body does. So if you're using tennis balls, a rolling pin, massage tool, those kinds of things, then it's okay to rub back and forth because it doesn't send that mixed signal the same way. I am going to post links afterwards to some of the handouts that I use in the prenatal classes that I teach in person, so that you have some things that you can perhaps print off for yourself, so you've got them as a reference guide. And the balance of this video is really going to be spending some time showing you the videos I've taken of friends who are utilizing the techniques that I talk about. We're going to do a double hip squeeze. The birthing parent may find it more comfortable to lean over an exercise ball, either on the floor, on the bed, leaning over the back of the bed in the hospital. But the hands go on the hips to do a double hip squeeze. And the idea with a double hip squeeze is to rotate the pelvis back into position. We want our birthing parent not to feel like they are going to be pushed out of the way in any way. So we take our hands and start up at the sacrum, slide our hands out so that the palms come into the middle of the glutes. And then we just press in and up. And hold that position. If the birthing parent likes this activity, then what you'll probably find is that you're holding this position for a prolonged period of time. As you can see, Haley's hands can get shaky as she's holding from a distance, so she's moved herself closer so that she can engage her pecs to get involved with holding this position for a prolonged period of time, so that her arms aren't shaking and the birthing parent can't feel that this is stressful for her partner. I'm going to show you what a rebozo is, or how you can use a rebozo or a twin bed sheet or a sarong in the same kind of fashion to help support the belly and the waist and the hips through everything. So we're going to try and mimic the use of a rebozo. In lieu of having an actual rebozo, you could use a twin bed sheet or a sarong. But in this case, what we've done is we've taken the sheet and put it behind the birthing parent. We just twist the ends slightly to give them some security, and it's down below the butt cheeks and up over the hips. Once we've twisted them, we wrap them together, and then the non-birthing parent or support person puts their feet on either side of the birthing parent's feet and just simply leans well back. And what that does is rolls the hips together to just offer some support in the low back. This can be really comfortable and beneficial in the labor times when the birthing parent has felt like they've walked lots, they've done lots, they don't really want to do any more walking or moving about. They just want to be able to sit and rest for a while. And remember, as I've said before, rest through labor is as important as activity. With the birthing parent leaning over an exercise ball or birth ball, we simply wrap the sheet around the front of the belly and over the hips. The idea is to just provide some support to the belly as it hangs. So simply twist and apply gentle pressure, pulling back so that they don't feel like they have to hold themselves in place too much, but through a contraction, they can feel the benefit of having the belly supported while they're dangling forward. There's all kinds of things that I want to make sure that I give you an opportunity to see so that you can practice that yourself between now and when your baby arrives, so that you're ready physically to do the best that you can do. When we're helping setting a pattern for relaxation for a birthing parent who's laboring, then we want to make sure that we're always pulling relaxation away from the heart with long, broad strokes, helping to set a resting, relaxed breathing pattern. Leaning over the counter or the back of the sofa and gently swaying the hips from side to side is a common, comfortable, natural position to achieve. It is intuitive for the birthing parent to get into a position where their feet are just slightly shoulder width apart, leaning over the counter or the back of a sofa, and just swaying their hips from side to side. And as they sway their hips from side to side, they're gently making more space for baby. They're getting themselves into a rhythm of labor, and it's an intuitive position to get into. When you're supporting the birthing parent, just gently place your hands on either hip, and with barely any pressure at all, just encourage them to keep the movement side to side. And that fluid motion helps to keep their breathing slow, rested, and relaxed. More than that, I want you to spend time thinking about what kinds of things help you to relax naturally. Be honest about it. I have to say, if I was to ask my wife what kinds of things I do to relax, her list would be different than my own. I might tell you that I run a bath, I light some candles, I grab a book, and I soak for a while, maybe with a glass of wine. But my wife might tell you that I bang a few doors and I stomp my feet, and I have to do some physically aggressive activity to kind of get that energy out before I can get to the calm and sedate. So it's okay and it's normal and it's expected if there are parts of labor where you need to be more active. You want to slow dance, you want to go for a walk, you want to climb stairs, you want to do things to move the process forward because that's what your emotions are telling you need to do and your adrenaline levels telling you need to do. And that's perfectly okay and perfectly normal. But I am going to encourage you to pull that back after a bit and let yourself calm. So for all the energy you expend, make sure you try to recoup some of that energy as well. Lie down, put a pillow between your knees, see if you can't nod off for a few minutes, but rest and relax and recover. When the birthing parent is feeling tired and wants to rest during the labor process, have them lie on their side. Put a pillow under their head and at least one pillow between their legs so that their knees can be separated and it can feel as though they're not putting extra pressure on the pelvis through the labor process. If they're having trouble resting or sleeping, then go up to their shoulders and pull relaxation down their back to their hips, down their legs and off their feet. And remember, we keep our strokes long, broad, smooth, and slow. We always want to pull relaxation from the heart so that the birthing parent can slow their breathing down and can potentially rest between contractions, maybe even nod off. Make sure your pressure is firm so that you're not tickling the birthing parent while you're offering them relaxation. Or get in the tub, maybe light some candles, grab a book, turn some music on. Music's fantastic. And as I've said before, I've had clients listen to all kinds of music during the labor process. There's never a wrong kind of music to listen to as long as you like it. And you're the one in labor, so you get to pick the music for your labor. I encourage you to make a couple of different playlists for your music. Perhaps something soft and slow and rhythmic for a period of time. But there may be time in labor where you also want the fast-paced, upbeat, familiar music that you generally turn on when you're cleaning the house on Saturday mornings because you know every word to every song and you sing it loud and you sing it proud as you're cleaning the bathtub. That's equally important because those familiar feelings, those familiar songs, those familiar smells of different activities you can do, all of those things help you to relax. And the more relaxed you are, the easier baby passes through. And I've mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. It is worth repeating. But have a look at what Haley and her sister are doing in some of these videos. And I'll add some commentary as we go, but it's really important for you to have a visual idea of different techniques that you can use to help you cope through the labor process, because it truly is a beautiful and wonderful journey. Really and truly, it's about finding whatever position makes you feel most comfortable when you're using an exercise ball or a birth ball, whether it's gentle bouncing up and down for counter pressure on the pelvic floor through early labor, or swaying your hips from side to side to help encourage the pelvis to open up. Starting to use the exercise ball or the birth ball in the latter part of pregnancy helps to familiarize you with the feeling of sitting on a ball and rolling the hips from side to side. The last thing you want to try when you're in labor is learning a new skill, and sometimes sitting on a ball can feel a little bit tricky. You definitely want to tripod your legs so that you feel like you're sitting squarely on the ball. And if this is new to you, please sit somewhere that you can reach out and grab onto something like a chair or a sofa. Next time, we're going to talk a little bit about life with a new baby. What are the 10 things you need to have when you have a new baby? There are lots of wants. There are lots of things we want to have. We all want the picture like the catalog. However, most of the things that are in the picture in the catalog aren't things we necessarily need. So if you're working on a budget, or you're just trying to keep what you buy to a minimum because you know you'll use it for such a short period of time, then this is your list of 10 of things that you just need to make sure you have. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.